Welcome student friends. So this is lecture number 3. So in the previous two lecture we have discussed the brief introduction of our unit number 3, that is resistance measurement, impedance measurement, and we have discussed some method to measure the medium resistance using volt ammeter method. We have started with this slide, that is we discuss how resistance can be classified using three categories, that is low resistance, medium resistance and high resistance. So the resistance in the order of 1 ohm called as a low resistance, the resistance in the range of 1 ohm to 100k is called as a medium resistance, and the resistance greater than 100 kilo ohm is called as a high resistance. And we have started our discussion with medium resistance. So in order to measure the medium resistance, there are two methods, that is Holt Ampere method and Wheatstone bridge method. So in the video number 2 or lecture number 2, we have discussed this Holt ammeter method in detail. So before starting further, we will take a quick review of last lecture. That is, so in that lecture we have discussed Holt ammeter method for the measurement of unknown resistance, and that unknown resistance which is a medium resistance. So this is one circuit configuration by which you can measure the unknown resistance, and we have derived equation for the Rx unknown resistance, and that Rx is equal to Rm minus Ra, and where we have shown that this measured resistance can be equal to your unknown resistance if and only if this Ra should be 0, resistance of the ammeter should be 0, but in practical case it is not possible. Furthermore, we also discuss another circuit configuration by which we have solved some equation. This is a circuit configuration, and this circuit configuration we have derived one equation, and this is our end equation where Rx is equal to Rm divided by 1 minus Rm upon Rv, and in this case your unknown resistance equal to your measured resistance if and only if this quantity should be 0. Okay, so this quantity should be 0, or Rv should be resistance of the voltmeter should be infinite, but in a practical case it is not possible. So these are some of the limitation of this Holt ammeter method for the measurement of the unknown resistance. And in order to solve these issues with the Holt ammeter method, people generally used the Wheatstone bridge method for the measurement of unknown resistance, and that unknown resistance should be a medium resistance. Okay, should be a major, it should not be a low resistance, or it should not be a high resistance. So these two methods, that is Holt ammeter method as well as the Wheatstone bridge method, are applicable for the finding out or measurement of medium resistance, which is in the range of 1 ohm to 100 kilo ohm. So in this lecture we will discuss how to design a Wheatstone bridge method and what is its mathematical derivation. So today's discussion points are, so in brief, initially we will see a Wheatstone bridge network or Wheatstone bridge circuit, and then we will derive a mathematical expression which can tells you that or which can suggest you the measurement of unknown resistance Rx. So let's get started. So today we will discuss Wheatstone bridge method. It is a second way to measure the or finding out the unknown medium resistance. Wheatstone bridge method. Wheatstone bridge method for the finding out the unknown medium resistance. So as you know that the Wheatstone bridge is based on the, if you know your 12th science, then this Wheatstone bridge is operates on null indication principle. It operates on null indication principle. It operates on null indication principle. So that means when no current flow through the null detector, or you can call it as that galvanometer, null detector or galvanometer, then bridge is in balance condition. Then bridge in balance condition. So this is our prerequisite for the designing of a Wheatstone bridge. So Wheatstone bridge is operates on the null indication principle. That means when there is no current flowing through your null detector or a galvanometer, then the bridge in the balance condition. That means your all ratio arm and standard arm are in a equal state. So let's draw its diagram of Wheatstone bridge method. So basically, as it is a bridge, so it should consist of four arms. So this is one arm or one network. This is resistance. Then this is another resistance, and this is another resistance. So your galvanometer should be here, or a null detector. We call also a galvanometer or a null detector. And this null detector or this circuit, because as we know that it is a DC circuit, so we have to connect a DC source. We have to connect a DC source to this network. So basically it is a DC network, so we should connect a DC network. If it is a AC, then we have to connect an AC source. So it is a positive terminal, it is a negative terminal, and we can represent this voltage source as a E. So we can say this is A, this is point B, this is point C, and this is point D. This is your resistance R1, your resistance R2, this is your resistance R3, and this resistance R3 is the standard resistance. It is also called as a standard resistance, and this is the unknown resistance Rx that you have to find out. So you can simply connect your unknown resistance here, and according to your bridge balance condition or according to formula that we will going to derive, you can simply find out the unknown resistance Rx. So this is R1, R2, R3 and Rx. So these are the resistance, and the current flowing through your R1 we called as a, so this is current direction I1. Current flowing through R2 can be represented like this, that is I2. Current flowing through R3 can be called as a I3, and current flowing through your Rx, okay, is called as a Ix. We can simply call it as a Ix. So you can simply see the Wheatstone bridge circuit. This is R1, R2, R3 and Rx. So current flowing like this, I1, I3, I2, Ix. Okay, and this is a galvanometer. So these two arm, that is this arm corresponds to R3 and arm corresponds to Rx, are called as a standard arm. Standard arm. Whereas these two arm, this R related to R1 and related to R2 are called as a ratio arm. Are called as a ratio arm. Okay, please remember this. So these are the standard arm because we have connected a standard resistance R3 here, so that is the standard arm, and this is R1 and R2 is called as the ratio arm. And then why it is called as a ratio arm, then we will see when we derive and our final equation. So in our final equation we will get a ratio of R1 and R2. Okay, so that's why it is called as a ratio arm. Ratio arm. So this is a basic circuit which represent the Wheatstone bridge. So it consists of a DC source E, resistance R1, R2, R3 and Rx. So we have to find out the value of Rx. Please remember, we have to find out the value of Rx. Current flowing through R1 is the I1, current flowing through R2 is the I2, current flowing through your resistance R3 is the I3, and current flowing through Rx is called as a Ix. And we have connected galvanometer like this. This is point C, point D, point A and point B. Please remember all this circuit configuration. So as we previously said, the Wheatstone bridge operates on a null indication principle. That means when there is no current flow through your null detector or a galvanometer, bridge is in the balance condition. So the current flowing through the galvanometer is depends upon the potential difference between point C and point D. So what I said, the current flowing through your galvanometer is depends upon the potential difference between point C and point D. So current flowing through your galvanometer, so like this and this is depends upon the potential difference between point C and D. And when the bridge is in the balance condition, so what I said, when the bridge is in the balance condition, then no current flow through the galvanometer. So there is no current flowing through the galvanometer, that means bridge is in the balance condition. Or in other words, when potential difference across galvanometer is zero, when there is no current, that means there is no potential difference. So when there is a potential difference across galvanometers, that is point C and point D is zero, then we also call as a bridge is in the balance condition. So what I said, the bridge is in balance condition when no current flowing through your galvanometer, or in other words, when potential difference across galvanometer is zero, then we can call as a bridge in the balance condition. So what it suggests that when the final equation, that is R1 into Rx is equal to R2 into R3, so all the values of R1 and Rx is equal to value of R2 into R3. When they becomes equal, then this circuit is in the balance condition. So in other words, how to write the balance equation? So balance equation of any bridge can be considered as R1 into Rx. R1 into Rx is equal to R2 into R3. So this is a balance condition, and this balance condition can be stated like this: the bridge is balanced when no current flowing through the galvanometer, or when potential difference across galvanometer is a zero, or simply in a resistance terms, the multiplication of R1 into Rx, so we will get some value, is equal to R2 into R3. So if these two value becomes equal or becomes same, then the bridge is in the balance condition. So then bridge is in the balance condition. So at the time of bridge balance, your current I1 into R1 is equal to I2 into R2. So when bridge is in the balance condition, your voltage across this should be zero. So that means your I1 R1 is equal to I2 R3. So when bridge is a balance condition, that means point C and there is no potential difference. That means, or in other words, I1 R1 is equal to I2 R2. I1 R1 is equal to I2 R2. Okay, so this is, we can call it as the equation number 1. So I1 R1 is equal to I2 R2. And when, if galvanometer current is 0, galvanometer current is 0, then we can write this equation like this, or based on this circuit arrangement of the your Houston bridge, I1 is equal to I3 or I2 is equal to Ix. So when at a time of bridge balance, if galvanometer current is 0, so when there is no current flowing through the galvanometer, it means the current flows through these arms, this R1 and R3. So I1 is equal to I3 and I2 is equal to Ix. So when there is no current flowing through galvanometer, so current will pass through like this, current will pass through like this. So that's why I write this equation, that is I1 is equal to I3 and I2 is equal to Ix. And if you apply a simple Ohm's law, so what is the Ohm's law? It says V is equal to IR. Now we have to find the equation for R. So it becomes V divided by R. So V divided by R. So in our case, V is represented by your E. V is represented by simple E, that is a DC source. V is represented by the E. So it becomes E is equal to your resistance. Now you can see we have said that I1 is equal to I3. So the resistance should be added because it is in a series. So R1 plus R3. So E divided by R1 plus R3. Similarly, E divided by the R2 plus Rx. So R2 plus Rx. So this is equation number 2 and equation number 3. So we have got 3 equations which suggest the bridge balance conditions. So if we put equation 2 and 3 in equation 1, we get what we get. If we put equation 2 and 3 into equation 1, so what we get? So this is 2 and 3. If we put this, because we know I1 and I2, so here we have I1 and here we have I2. So if you put all these things, what it becomes? It becomes E divided by R1 plus R3 into simple R1 is equal to what is your I2? Your I2 is nothing but E divided by R2 plus Rx into your resistance R2. If you cross multiply all these things, what you get? If you cross multiply, what you get? R1 into R2 plus Rx. If you cross multiply like this, what you get? R1 into R2 plus Rx is equal to your R2, cross multiply like this, R1 plus R3, and because of cross multiplication this E will be cancel out. So what you get? R1 into bracket R2 plus Rx is equal to R2 R1 plus R3. So remember this equation. So our final or our previous equation was R1 R2 plus Rx is equal to R2 R1 plus R3. If you multiply into bracket, what you get? R1 R2 plus R1 Rx is equal to R2 R1 plus R2 R3. R2 R3. And because this R1 R2 is similarly, it is also here, okay, R2 R1, so we can cancel out this. Okay, so what we get at the end? R1 Rx is equal to R2 into R3. And as we know that we have to find out the equation for Rx, we have to find out the equation for Rx. So Rx is equal to R2 into R3 divided by R1. So this is our final equation for the Wheatstone bridge. So this is our final equation for the Wheatstone bridge. So the unknown resistance of the Wheatstone bridge, unknown resistance of this Wheatstone bridge Rx can be found out using simple this formula, R2 into R3 divided by R1. R2 divided by R3. So this is our, what we have? We have R2 into R3 divided by R1. So because this R2 and R1, these are in the, these we can take its ratio. Okay, so these are the, this is the ratio of this. So that's why this R1 and R2 arm are called as a ratio arms, and these are the standard arms. So standard arms and the ratio arms. So now, so our final equation is Rx is equal to R2 into R3 divided by R1, and this equation is used for the calculation of unknown medium resistance. Please remember this. This Wheatstone bridge is useful for the measurement or finding out the medium unknown resistance, not the low resistance or not the high resistance. The resistance in between 1 ohm to 100k can be useful or can be used for the measurement. So this bridge can be useful for the measurement of this kind of resistance. And this equation also tells you that if you know the three resistance R1, R2 and R3, then you can calculate the value of Rx. If three resistance are known, then the Wheatstone bridge can be used for the finding out the unknown resistance Rx. So there are some limitation of this network. Okay, so although you can consider this is very simple network and you can simply solve this equation, but there are some limitation in the electronics term. So what are the limitations? So there are basically three limitations. So we'll discuss what are the limitations